Here we go again. It's almost been too long. Is Agile disappearing? Slipping to the background where it belongs is common sense. This article was published on April 12th, 2025. Somebody asked me to review it. Brian Link, I love you to pieces, but this has to be the 972,463rd article that talks about this. Let's see what your take is. Let's see where you go with it. For the last 2 years, we've seen a fairly drastic change in the Agile landscape. Large companies have laid off thousands of Agile tech jobs, or thousands of Agile and tech jobs. The job market for new jobs is also very different. You can't just search for Scrum Master Agile Coach like you used to. Let's pause. Okay, I have a couple of issues here. First, I do wholeheartedly agree for the last 2 years we've seen a drastic change in the Agile landscape. There is a shift in the Agile marketplace, and there's a shift in Agile altogether. And that shift is pulling us towards more change management practices, more product management practices, and more quality management practices. We're starting to see emphasis on those things. We're also starting to see the role of like a Scrum Master shift more into the role of an Agile project manager, where they're picking up some of those additional traditional project management responsibilities. Now, some of these changes are happening in a very positive way, but all of these changes are initiated, in my opinion, because of the ease of using AI to help alleviate some of the day-to-day mundane tasks. So it's giving people more bandwidth to be able to do additional things. So I guess in a way, people are starting to look at agility more as a verb instead of agile as, are you agile? Well, yeah, it's just weird, right? So what I'm saying is, I don't know that the titles are changed though. In fact, if I went on Indeed and did a search right now, I guarantee I'd find jobs for Scrum Master, Agile Coach, Product Owner, just like I always used to. But you'll find some additional roles that weren't there before, which are kind of interesting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I sense that you're on the right track with regard to where business agility is going, but I sense that you may be off as far as the job market is concerned, at least here in the US. Let's continue. So maybe it's because big firms have started treating Agile like a skill and not a role. This was mentioned in the Business Agility Institute and Scrum Alliance in their Skills of the New World research paper. You might need to be multiple things: a manager who knows Agile, or a technologist who knows Scrum. It's a trend that, in his opinion, is sad but true. Let's pause there. So I did read the report, I read the research paper, I read the study, and what I can tell you is I take, gosh, I don't want to say this out loud, I take everything the Business Agility Institute says with a grain of salt, only because I've seen so many things they've published that the data was manipulated to cause people to think a certain way. There's the easiest way to put it. It's not just clean data. So in my world, I love the Scrum Alliance just as much as the next person does. But what I'm seeing is people are being asked to do multiple things, but not because of a sense of misunderstanding of opportunities and roles, but more aligned with a transition of how Agile is being implemented within companies. Meanwhile, you might have noticed while some companies, especially those who struggled in previous Agile transformation experiments, are less likely to embrace Agile anymore. And sometimes it's worse, and Agile is treated like a four-letter word that no one wants to hear anymore. Okay, I don't know why it's a four-letter word, but we'll keep going. So what is the conclusion? Agile surely isn't dead. I mean, come on, it's still everywhere. Everywhere, if you look, you'll know where to look and you'll find it. Don't be fooled. There are some organizations that are taking steps backwards. Their PMOs are invigorated by the failure of Agile in their organizations. And in some ways, the trope is true. Project managers will always exist. Some companies really have reverted to previous ways of working and what they're most comfortable with. You're not wrong, but they are the exception and not the rule. What about everyone else? What's happening to Agile in general companies anywhere else? Okay, let's pause there. Are organizations reverting back to PMOs? No. Organizations have had the PMO all along. The name has transitioned from a PMO to an Agile Center of Excellence to a Project Management Office to whatever it might be over and over and over again. My point is, I don't care if you call it Gummy Bear number 74. I don't care what you call it, as long as you acknowledge that it exists and you figure out how to work with it in your example. What about everyone else? What's happening to Agile in general in companies everywhere else? Well, companies are still behaving with business agility. They just don't want the formality that surrounds it. They don't want all that structure. So they're starting to deviate away. They're starting to realize that things like SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, are just so heavy that they're not going to be successfully implemented in their company or in many other instances for any other company for that matter. So he goes on to say Agile is disappearing. But not like you think. I think of it like this: it's melting, infusing, and merging within a company's way of working and ways of thinking. What this means is that it's being treated like it always should have been treated in the first place, like a set of principles, beliefs, and values. Okay, I'll hear more. I think I see where you're going with this, and this is the first thing you said that I really am kind of grabbing onto. But one of the things that's interesting is I've always taught that Agile's not a checklist, that Agile is a way of doing things. And I think that if you treat agility that way all along, you're going to be much better off. So Agile has failed organizations most when it was treated like a set of rules or a checklist or framework that defines a more rigid process or approach to working. Facts. The Agile mindset is incredibly more powerful and more flexible, but it does take some discipline, a different kind of discipline than picking up a new methodology or process to apply to solve complex problems. Agile is and always has been a way of thinking. The way that I say it is Agile is the way you process information. I tell people this all the time. We have information that's presented to us. Being Agile is the way that we intake that information, process it, and successfully implement it based on what we've learned. So if you want your organization to be successful, you need to formulate a point of view about Agile that embraces the ways of thinking before considering specific processes or frameworks that you're going to try to apply. One, it applies to Agile principles, beliefs, and values to however your team works instead of specific practices, frameworks, tools, or methodologies. Then you're embracing a new way of thinking and are applying the Agile mindset in your own unique way to help you be more successful. For years, I've heard companies say, we'd love to do Agile, but we're different. Well, good news. Every company's different, and they're still doing Agile, and you can too. So for me, I think part of this problem, part of this challenge, is that for years, trainers and coaches have not gotten on the bandwagon of, hey, companies are different. They are going to behave different. One of the things that we created a number of years ago is that Agile landscape image, where it shows all the different ways that you can do Agile, and it shows it broken down into 4 distinct phases: initiation or ideation, discovery, delivery, and release. And if you can focus on those 4, you can touch on all the different ways of doing Agile. It's just you need to come up with some way that works based on the type of products or services you offer and the culture of your organization. And if you can get to that, you'll be in good shape. So he says, consider asking the following questions as organic ways you might apply Agile mindset in your organization and teams across both business and technology. How do you seek feedback early and often to be sure we're achieving the desired outcomes for our customers and end users? Do our teams understand the why behind their work? How do they know the things they're doing relate to the long-term goals of the business strategy? Have we created a set of products that properly represent our business strategy, adequately supported by teams that have the skills they need to build and maintain these products? Are we focused on the right short list of products and services to match our strategic goals? Are delivery teams encouraged to make decisions within their own assigned level of responsibility? Do leaders delegate responsibility adequately and define the right levers, metrics, and measures to help the team drive success? Is all work transparent, celebrated, and shared with stakeholders? Are there frequent touch points to demonstrate the value of completed work, get feedback, and openly embrace experiments that did not work so that lean waste is identified sooner and better products are built faster? Are teams given a space to focus on their continual improvement? Is learning and improving part of their culture? Does the organization embrace this or part of their own expectation management approach? Do teams seek to maintain and improve their own psychological safety with themselves and their relevant leaders often enough? There's so many things that are important here, right? What I can tell you is those questions all at some point need to be answered. But organizations struggle because they're trying, and this is the part that kills me. Organizations come to me and they say, I want a checklist of how to do Agile. I want to check the boxes and at the end be Agile. When you explain to them that it doesn't work that way, they then say, fine, we'll bring a coach to sit with us and teach us how to do it step by step. Well, there is no step by step. And I think this is the aha moment. You can't just lock in a set of roles and accountabilities and lock in a process with a group of check boxes and, you're agile, right? I think that too many people are focused on things you must do in order to achieve agile delivery, which is solely focused on output, instead of talking about the full agile life cycle, which is focused on outcome. And I think that if we can make that switch and lean in on change management, lean in on product management, lean in on quality management, lean in on the structures and things that are going to help us be better at implementing Agile in the organization. And that's where we're going to see a world of difference. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care. Bye now.